So, starting on your back, any reclined, relaxing position for your body today. Doesn't have to be on your back. If that's not working for you, that's fine. And we'll be spending a little more time on our backs or in Shavasana, in corpse pose at the end of class. So take a moment now just to kind of check in, see how your body's feeling. And if you think that by the end of class you might want something that would, a prop of some kind or something would help you kind of come into the pose a little more deeply, feel free to grab what you need, make any adjustments as necessary. Our crown chakra, our Sahasrara, is located just at or just above the very top of your head. It represents a spiritual connection, whatever kind of spirituality that you believe in, or whether you do or don't. It also just represents the connection between self and others and the whole universe. This idea that we are all connected, we are all the same, we are all one in existence. And even if you take it from like a scientific perspective, if you don't say maybe follow a religion or practice a religion, you don't have like a grounded or connection to that aspect, even just from a scientific perspective, the concept that we are all matter, everything is made up of the same basic things. It's kind of where the focus is today. Focus now on your breath. Notice as the molecules of air enter your lungs, and then they leave again, changed, but still matter. And then draw your awareness to your mind. And just begin to notice what kinds of thoughts are coming up. Without passing judgment on them, allowing them just to exist for a moment and then seeing if you can let them go. Bringing yourself back to being here, right where you are. When you're ready for some movement, take your arms overhead, maybe on the floor, and maybe stretch your feet down to the end of your mat and take a full body, long stretch from fingertips to toes. Draw your knees into your chest now. Give yourself a hug. And begin to rock and roll a little bit side to side. Maybe tipping and tucking your tailbone. We'll be doing a little bit more flow, a little bit more sort of like salutation style class today, with the idea being that we move a little bit more throughout the middle of class so that by the time we come down toward the floor, we're able to sort of shake off the wiggles and come into a more calming Shavasana for our bodies and our minds. Take the soles of your feet to your mat. Stretch your arms up overhead on the floor again. And on an inhale, dig your heels in, lift your hips off the floor, coming to bridge. On your exhale, lower your spine back down one vertebra at a time. Lift your feet off the floor, or keep them on the floor. Either way is fine. And on an exhale, begin to roll your spine up off the floor, coming forward and up to boat pose. Your feet can remain on the floor. You can lift them off the floor. You can hover them up in the air or extend them. On your next exhale, lower your spine back to the floor. Bring your arms overhead, plant your feet, inhaling to lift your hips back to bridge. Exhaling to lower your spine down. Lift your feet or keep them on the floor. Inhale, press yourself up to boat. Exhale, lower yourself back down to the floor. Once your feet hit the floor, your hands hit the floor, inhale to lift your hips back to bridge. Exhale, lower back to the floor and prepare yourself for boat. Coming up, lifting up through your whole spine, tailbone down, crown of the head up. Exhaling to lower yourself back to the floor. Inhaling to bridge. Last boat. Lower your spine to the floor. Inhale to press yourself up to boat. Exhale, feet back down on the floor. Coming up into your seat and just come right up and over to tabletop. Flipping your feet around behind you or rolling over them. Take a moment here just to settle into your cats and cows, rolling through your spine, taking any movement side to side, forward, backward, maybe circles that feels good in your body. If you'd like here, you may want to fold your mat underneath your knees, or maybe put a blanket or towel beneath your knees if you're on kind of a hard surface. On your next exhale, pull your belly to your spine, come back to cat, and then continue to press yourself backward until you come to child's pose. Your knees can stay parallel to your ankles. You don't have to do wide knees, toes together unless you really want to. On your next inhale, roll your spine forward, coming all the way toward your hands. And then let your hips kind of dip down toward the floor, coming toward an upward dog. If that's a little too much for you, you can stay in like a plank with the knees down and just think about pressing the hips forward, pulling the heart forward between the hands. On your next exhale, press yourself up and back, coming back into that cat pose and all the way back to child's pose. Inhale, roll your spine forward, coming to that knee down plank or pressing your hips down toward the floor, coming to upward dog. Try that twice more. Exhaling, press back toward child pose. Inhale to roll forward and come forward to a back bend or plank. Last round, pressing back through cat to child's pose. Inhaling forward and pulling your heart forward. Exhale, come back to tabletop. Neutral spine. On your next exhale, if you did bunch up your mat, you're probably going to want to unbunch it for now. Curl your toes under. If you just have a towel, you can probably leave it there, but if your mat is folded, you may want to unbunch it so that you don't slip and slide in our downward dog. So curl your toes under. Lift your knees and hips up off the floor. Give yourself a second to settle in. Press your hands into the floor. Open all 10 fingers, open all 10 toes. Press the feet and hands into the earth. Lift the hips away from the earth and press them up and back. Let the head come down. On your next inhale, take a deep bend at your knees. Walk your hands toward your feet and come to forward fold. You can let your feet be really wide here, especially this is our first forward fold. So let yourself kind of work your way into this class little by little. Nothing has to be too strenuous or difficult. And if it is, you can just pause, take a breath, come to Tadasana, mountain pose, come to happy baby or child's pose, whatever you need. On your next inhale, press palms to shins. Come to halfway lift. Exhale, back to forward fold. Roll your spine all the way to standing. And inhale, sweep your palms overhead. Stretch your body long, feet down, hands up. Length through the whole body. On an exhale, bring your palms to heart center. Feel your feet connected to the earth. Feel your hands pressing into one another. Throughout class, if you find your mind kind of wandering, or if you feel yourself having an acute emotional response to something, come back to your breath. Maybe think about pressing your feet or your hands into the floor or the surface beneath them. And check back in with your mind. Allow your palms to come down by your sides, Tadasana, mountain pose. If you'd like to set an intention for class, something other than just, I'm going to get to do Shavasana later, which is also fine. But if If you have something else that you'd like to focus on, feel free to set that kind of in your mind's eye right now. Maybe envision it ahead of you with your eyes open or closed. And when you're ready, take a few really purposeful steps toward the front of your mat. Really feel your foot touch the earth with each step. When you arrive at the front of your mat, re-ground yourself. Plant your feet underneath you. Center your hips between your feet. Root down to grow yourself tall. On an inhale, sweep your palms overhead. Exhale, swan dive to forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, bring your hands to the ground, bend your knees. Sweep your right foot toward the back of your mat and bring your knee down to the earth. Top of the foot can come down. On your inhale, sweep your palms overhead, or maybe just press your hands into that front thigh to give yourself a little more lift up away from the floor. On an exhale, bring your hands back down to frame your front foot and bring that foot back so that knees are side by side near the back of your mat. And come to plank with the knees down, hands down, knees down. Inhale, draw some length through your spine. Exhale, bend your elbows, point them back towards your heels, lower to the earth, chaturanga, to the floor. On an inhale, come to any amount of back bend that suits you today. So maybe that's cobra, maybe that's upward dog, maybe it's somewhere in the middle. Exhale, press up and back. And this is your choice. You can come to child's pose or back to downward dog. So staying on the floor, knees down on the floor for child's pose, or lifting knees off the floor for downward dog. Take one more round of breath. On your next inhale, roll your spine forward again, coming to plank. On an exhale, bring your right foot to the front of your mat. It may help to come up on your back toes to do that. And then bring your back foot forward too, left foot to the front. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale, come to halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Roll your spine to standing. And inhale, sweep palms overhead. Exhale, palms to heart center. Inhale, palms overhead. Exhale, swan dive to forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, hands down, sweep your left foot back, knee to the floor. Inhale, rise up. So hands in the air, or maybe press hands into your front thigh. Reach up and back with your spine. Exhale, hands back to the floor. Take your right foot back now. So knees are side by side, and you're in this knees down plank. As always, if you prefer knee up plank, feel free to take that instead. Inhale. Exhale, point your elbows back toward your heels. Lower yourself to the earth. Inhale to your back bend. Exhale, up and back to downward dog or child's pose. That's your choice. Take a round of breath. On your next inhale, roll your spine forward. Exhale, left foot to the front of your mat. And then right foot. On an inhale, come to halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Roll your spine to standing. Inhale, palms overhead. Exhale, palms to heart center. We'll try this one more time, once on the right side, once on the left side. Inhale, sweep palms overhead. Exhale, back to forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, hands down, sweep the right foot backward. Knee up or knee down, you can choose. Knee down at this point. Inhale to lift the spine away from the floor. Exhale, hands down, step your left foot back. Now you can do knees up or knees down in plank. Inhale. Exhale, point your elbows back toward your heels. Chaturanga to the earth. Inhale to upward dog or cobra, your back bend. Exhale, up and back, child's pose or downward dog, and take one round of breath. On your next exhale, take your right foot forward to the front of your mat. Inhale, step left foot forward. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, rise to standing. Inhale, palms overhead. Exhale, palms to heart center. Inhale, palms overhead. Exhale, swan dive, come to forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands down, sweep your left foot back, knee down. Inhale, lift up away from the floor. A little bit of back bend. Exhale, hands down, step your right foot back. Plank, knees up or down. Inhale. Exhale, chaturanga, and come to the floor. Inhale to your back bend of choice. Exhale, up and back, downward dog or child's pose. Take a round of breath, maybe two. On your next exhale, step your left foot forward. Inhale, step your right foot forward. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, roll to standing. Inhale, sweep palms overhead. Exhale, palms to heart center. And breathe. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel hand touching hand. Feel air entering your lungs and exiting your lungs. On your next inhale, sweep your palms overhead. On an exhale, swan dive to forward fold. Inhale, come to halfway lift. Exhale, sit back to chair pose. Press your feet into the earth. Sit back onto your heels a little bit so your weight comes more behind you as opposed to tipping forward. Grow your spine long from tailbone to the crown of your head. Exhale, palms together to heart center. Twist toward your right. Take your left elbow and maybe hook it inside your knees or outside your right knee, or just hover and take a couple more breaths, depending on your pacing. At the bottom of your next exhale, come back to forward fold. Inhale, come to halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Sweep your right foot back, keeping your knee off the ground this time. On an inhale, distribute your weight evenly between both feet and rise to standing. Take your palms overhead. Inhale, stretch your body long. Exhale into twist. Right hand forward, left hand backward. Inhale, flip the front palm to the sky, reach up and back, twisting open through the side body. Exhale, back to twist. Inhale, palms overhead. Exhale, back heel down. Rotate your hips to the long edge of your mat, warrior two. Inhale, flip the front palm to the sky and reach up and back, open up the side body. Exhale, come back to warrior two. Bend into that front knee again. Inhale, reach forward with your torso. Forearm to thigh, top arm can take some guitar circles on this first side angle, if you'd like. Rolling open the shoulder. And then plant your back foot into the floor and grow your top arm overhead toward the front of your mat. On your next exhale, press back to warrior two. Inhale, straighten your front leg, reach up and back, reverse triangle. Exhale, back to warrior two. Inhale to side angle. And flow. So exhales, we come to warrior two. Inhale, we're in either reverse triangle or side angle, depending on which direction you're going with your breath. I'm gonna let you take this section at your own pace because I feel like sometimes you just need a little more time in each pose. So try it at your own pace on your breath. Inhaling forward or backward, exhaling to center yourself in warrior two. Maybe think about your arms being like the seaweed growing up out of the ocean floor. Your feet are the roots, very deeply in this nice mineral rich earth at the bottom of the ocean, and your fingers get to just float in the waves. After your next side angle, come back to warrior two and hold there for a moment. On an inhale, come onto your back toes and turn your hips back toward the front of your mat, high lunge. Grow your fingertips up to the sky. Inhale. Exhale, come down over your front foot. Begin to work your weight forward onto that front leg and lift your right foot off the floor, standing split. So kicking that foot up to the sky, maybe thinking about bringing your forehead towards your standing knee. Take one more breath. And on an exhale, both feet come to the front of your mat, forward fold. Inhale, come to halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Roll your spine to standing. Inhaling your palms overhead. Exhale, palms together at heart center. And then take your palms down by your sides Tadasana, mountain pose. On an inhale, sweep your palms overhead. Exhale, swan dive to forward fold. Inhale, come to halfway lift. Exhale, chair pose. Sit back, reach your spine long. Tailbone down and back. Crown of the head away from the tailbone. Find some length through your spine. Inhale. Exhale, palms to heart center. Twist your chest to the left. Maybe hook your right elbow on your legs, or maybe just hover in the air. Take one more breath. Exhale, come to forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands down. Sweep your left foot backward toward the back of your mat. Keep the knee up. On an inhale, raise your torso away from the floor. Center your weight between your feet. Back heel is up. Inhale, grow your palms up into the sky. Find some length in your torso. Exhale, left hand forward, right hand backward. Open twist. Inhale, front hand flips. Reach up and back. Twisting open the side body. Exhale, back to twist. Inhale, both hands overhead. Exhale, warrior two. Back foot comes down. Hips opening side to side towards the long side of your mat. On an inhale, flip your front palm to the sky. Reach up and back, straighten out that front leg. Take a moment here, maybe another breath, just to feel out your reverse triangle. On an exhale, come back to warrior two. And then on an inhale, reach your torso forward. Forearm to thigh or hand inside foot. Top arm can do some nice wide shoulder roll opens here. Playing the air guitar with our top hand. And then take the back foot, press it into the earth, and from there, grow your left fingertips all the way overhead towards the front of your mat. On your next exhale, come back to warrior two. And now we flow. So on your inhales, reach up and back, reverse triangle. Exhale back to warrior two. Inhale forward, side angle. And continue at your own pace with your breath. Feeling your feet rooted into the earth. Feeling your knee joint moving little by little into each pose. Feeling your torso reach long on one side and then long on the other side. After your next side angle, we'll meet in warrior two. So take your time. Coming back to warrior two. Awesome. On an inhale, come back onto your toes of your back foot. Turn your hips forward. Reach your palms overhead. Stretch your torso long. Inhale. Exhale. Palms down to frame the front foot. Beginning to work your weight into that front foot so that you can start to stand on it. Maybe tapping your back foot inward little by little until you can stand on your front foot and kick your left foot up in the air. Maybe think about bringing your chest toward your thigh, your head or your forehead or nose toward your shin. And on an exhale, both feet together near the front of your mat or together-ish, Both feet at the front of your mat. Inhale, come to halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And roll yourself to standing. Inhale, sweep your palms overhead. Exhale, palms together at heart center. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel hand touching hand. Feel breath filling your lungs. Centering your hips between your feet. Stacking your heart on top of your hips. Centering your ears over your shoulders. Allow your palms to come by your sides. Mountain pose, Tadasana. On an inhale, sweep your palms overhead. Exhale, swan dive to forward fold. Inhale, come to halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step yourself back to tabletop. And again here, if you'd like to fold your mat maybe once underneath your knees, go ahead and fold it up. Sit back toward your heels for a moment and come to that cat pose, sort of child's pose thing we were doing at the beginning of class. This time really trying to get like a rounded spine all the way from your tailbone tucking in towards your belly, through your back to your head so that your eyes are kind of like drawing in towards your belly button or towards your tailbone. Take your hands and reach them back, maybe grabbing for your heels or your calves. And think about the crown of your head coming towards the floor. If you'd like to actually gently rest your head on the earth, you're welcome to do that. If it's a little too much on your skull today or you've got a headache or anything, don't worry about it. Just giving yourself the moment to feel crown of the head kind of coming towards the earth, the whole spine sort of rolling up and away from the floor. Take one more breath here. This is rabbit pose. At the bottom of your exhale, let go of your feet or your legs. Press yourself up onto your shins for a moment and just reach your palms up to the sky. Press the tops of your feet into the floor. Reach your body long and maybe back bend just a little bit to reverse the strict arc that we just did with our spine. Exhale, sit back towards the floor and bring your feet out in front of you just so that we can work our way toward our back. If you have props that you're going to be using for Shavasana, make sure you just have them close by so you don't have to go searching for them once we're already down on the floor. And when you're ready to come down to the earth, come on down. Allow yourself a moment to rock and roll here. Maybe take your hands to your kneecaps and let your knees open side to side, flexing the feet. Maybe bringing your knees to about hip height. I find that when I have my hands on my knees and I just extend my arms, my knees come to just about the right height for me. But everybody's proportions are a little different, so feel that out for yourself. Take your knees together And roll yourself onto your right side. Coming all the way onto your side. From there, take your left hand, your top hand, and reach it up and then back, opening yourself into a twist. So leave your legs on the floor and roll your chest back open to the sky, taking your left hand back toward the floor. If this is a little too intense of a twist, you can always prop your legs up, or you can take your chest away from the floor, back towards the right. If this feels great, maybe you turn your gaze toward your left hand. When you're ready, take your gaze back to center. Take your legs back to center, rolling back onto your back. And then go the other direction. So take yourself, your whole body, and roll it to the left. So you're just lying on your left side. Leave your legs on the floor and peel your right shoulder back towards the earth. This does not have to be strict. Your knees don't have to be on top of each other. Just allowing the spine to gently rotate into a twist. And again, maybe you turn your chin or your eyes towards the right hand. And feel your breath. Inhale to exhale. When you're ready to come back to center, turn your gaze back to the sky. Pull your legs back to your middle, towards your midline. Plant the soles of your feet on the floor. Tuck your shoulder blades onto your back. Press your shoulders and your upper back into the floor. Dig your heels into the earth. Lift your hips off the floor, coming to bridge. We'll take a little more time here than we did at the beginning of class. And if you'd prefer to just take one bridge and stick something under your hips and just stay there for this whole process, feel free to just take a nice supported one time only bridge. If you'd like to keep moving on your exhale, gently lower your spine one vertebra at a time back to the earth. Reset, check back in. Notice if you felt like anything needed to move or be modified. Try that again, pressing back with the shoulders and with the heels. Begin to lift your hips off the floor, coming to bridge pose. If you'd like to activate your arms a little bit more, you might want to grab the outer edges of your mat and kind of pull from left to right, like you're trying to rip the mat right down the middle. I find that presses my shoulders backward a little bit more. Take one more inhale. And on an exhale, lower your spine back down, one vertebra at a time. Reset. This will be our last bridge. Feel free to wiggle and wobble anything that needs a little adjusting or needs some loosening out. Last one. Pressing your shoulders back, dig your heels in, lift your hips off the floor, maybe pull your mat apart with your hands. Press your knees forward towards your toes and see if you can get a little more length, pulling your hips with your knees going forward. You can kind of pull your hips towards your feet as opposed to dumping all of your weight back onto your shoulders. We're actually using leg strength to press ourselves a little forward, letting the chest fall backward. Take one more breath here. And at your exhale, lower your spine back to the floor. Nice and slow. Once you land, take your feet, walk them wide. Let your knees swish from side to side. And stick the soles of your feet from the floor and begin to let your legs wobble down towards the bottom of your mat. If feet out long is not what's best for you in Shavasana, feel free to bend your knees. Feel free to prop your knees up with pillows or blocks. If lying on your back is not right for you, by all means, lie on your side or move to a couch or a bed. You can put your feet up a wall. This is free play. You get to choose choose your Shavasana adventure. Find whatever works best in your body today. And if that means you need to change things up a little bit, even a few minutes into Shavasana, if you find that you're not comfortable, by all means, take whatever adjustments are necessary. That might mean changing your lighting or covering your eyes or adding a blanket or Shavasana means corpse pose. Kind of sounds morbid, but it's kind of what we look like. And it's a reminder that everything has a beginning and everything has an end. A yoga class has a beginning and an end. It's a reminder that ultimately we go back to where we came from, that our matter becomes matter again. Like it's all the same. We are all connected. We are all part of something a little bit bigger than ourselves. Whether you believe that on a spiritual level or just the physical, scientific, we are all atoms vibrating on this planet that's hurtling through space, which is a miracle on its own. Shavasana also happens to be one of the most challenging poses in yoga. I know that sounds silly, because sometimes you just get to take a nap. But what I've learned is that to practice Shavasana fully, or with some consequence, I guess, with a little bit more intention, actually takes a lot of practice, a lot of patience. You can take up to 15 minutes just reaching the state of Shavasana, and then Shavasana actually begins. When you're practicing it more as like a focus of its own. I won't make you do that today because we just don't have time. But while you're here, begin to scan your physical body. Relax the small muscles in your face, in your jaw, in your neck. Let the weight of your head rest backward on the floor. Feel where your base of your skull connects into the top of your spine. And follow that connection through your neck, into your shoulders, your upper back. Reaching out through your arms and your fingertips. Rolling down into your chest. Where you might notice your breath filling the space and leaving the space. Maybe each exhale allows you to sink back into the earth a little bit more. Be supported by the ground. Following your spine down into your belly region, your low back, mid back, low back. Again, maybe feeling your breath as it pushes your organs out of the way a little bit, and then lets them sink backward a little more into the earth on your exhales. Feel your hips and your pelvis. Seeing if you can release your hips backward to the floor. And then follow the connection from tailbone down through your legs, out to the ends of your toes, your heels, wrapping around the arches of your feet. Check in with your mind. Notice any thoughts that come up. And with as little judgment as you can pass, just notice them. Maybe let them settle or pass. And bring yourself back to right here where you are in this moment. When you're ready to start coming out of Shavasana, start with your breath again. Maybe wiggling fingers and toes. Eventually, very gently and with ease, rolling yourself to one side with as little effort as possible so as not to rattle yourself. Let your practice settle into your body. Before eventually pressing yourself up to seated when you're ready. Once you come to seated, take a second to settle yourself here. Ground your sit bones into the earth. Grow your spine up tall. And on an inhale, sweep your fingertips up to the sky. Feel length through your torso. Exhale, palms together down to heart center. And take a gentle bow to yourself, your body, your classmates. Thank you very much for showing up today. Take very, very good care of yourselves.